My journey to learning English in the United States. Hello, my name is Emily. I am a student of English literature, and this is my story. I want to share with you my life in New York City and my journey to learning English. Let me tell you about my amazing teacher. You can read my story and learn English with me. It was a beautiful summer day, and I was traveling on a subway. Two women were sitting across from me. They were speaking English, but I couldn't understand much. I had just started studying English and was still a beginner. I didn't know many words yet. I decided to speak to them in simple English. I said a few basic words, and they understood what I wanted to say. That made me feel happy. I told them I wanted to learn English, and they told me they were from Chicago. They were visiting New York for a conference. Our conversation lasted for about 10 minutes, and then the train arrived at my station. I said goodbye to the women, and they gave me their contact information. They invited me to visit them in Chicago someday. After we parted ways, I worked even harder on my English. I practiced every day by translating texts and watching English movies. In 6 months, my English had improved. It was good, but I wanted to learn more. I decided to move to New York City to study English. I enrolled in a language school, and my first lesson was on a Monday. I met my teacher and other students in the class. My teacher was a young, kind woman. She was very nice and humble. We introduced ourselves, and then we got started with the lesson. Our teacher asked us about our general knowledge of the English language. She explained that she would teach us through a very effective method to learn English. This method was simple but powerful. Our teacher told us we wouldn't need to study textbooks. Instead, we would use English in our daily lives. She said this approach worked better for most students, and I found it very helpful because I had never liked studying from textbooks before. They always confused me. Then we talked about the purpose of language. Our teacher told us that language is a tool for communication. We need languages to express ideas and connect with others. The best way to learn a language, she said, was to use it in real-life situations. This method of speaking and practicing English worked well for me. Many students try to memorize new words and study grammar rules, but they don't practice speaking. Our teacher explained that there is a big difference between studying about a language and actually using it. Of course, we still needed to learn new words and grammar, but the key was to practice them every day. In this course, I was going to learn how to do just that. How to learn vocabulary and grammar effectively. On Tuesday, I went back to school. During the lesson, one of the students asked a very interesting question. She asked what the best way to learn new words was. Our teacher explained that reading was the most effective way to learn vocabulary. When people read, they learn new words, twice as fast as those who don't read. She recommended reading for at least 30 minutes every day. She also gave us some advice on how to get the most out of reading. First, the book or text should be interesting to you. It doesn't matter if it's fiction or non-fiction, as long as it catches your interest. You shouldn't read something that bores you. If you don't understand a word, you should look it up in a dictionary. This will help you understand the text better and remember the word for the future. Over time, the new words will become part of your vocabulary. Reading also has another benefit. When you read, you see how words are connected in sentences. You learn how to use them correctly in context. This method of learning new words was very effective for me, and I started using it every day. The next day, I went to the job center to find a part-time job. I asked the lady at the desk where I could find a job. She suggested working as a cleaner or a waitress at a café. I had no experience, but she told me my English was good enough to work in a café. She said the job would be a great opportunity to practice speaking English, so I decided to give it a try. On Thursday, I started my new job. It was a great experience because I was able to practice English while working. I felt more confident speaking with customers, and I started to improve my pronunciation. One of my classmates, James from South Korea, was struggling with his pronunciation. He didn't know how to improve it, even though he was studying English every day. Our teacher introduced a technique called shadowing. It's a simple method where you listen to a recording and repeat what you hear, mimicking the pronunciation and rhythm. This method helped me a lot with my speaking skills, and I continued to practice shadowing every day. One day, I met a student named Isabella from Italy. She spoke English fluently, and our teacher praised her for her progress. Isabella explained that she had learned English by reading a lot, using shadowing and thinking aloud. She told us that thinking aloud helped her improve her speaking and confidence. I decided to try thinking aloud as well. Thinking aloud is a simple technique where you speak your thoughts out loud in English. It may sound strange at first, but it's an effective way to get used to speaking without translating from your native language. It took time, but after a while I found myself thinking in English more and more. One day, I met a man from Australia while I was walking in the park. We struck up a conversation in English, and I was able to communicate with him without translating in my head. This was a breakthrough for me. My speaking had improved, and I was starting to think in English instead of my native language. This was the moment I realized that learning English wasn't just about memorizing words or grammar rules. It was about using the language in real-life situations and practicing every day. I'm so glad I made the decision to come to New York and study English. I now feel more confident and capable of using English in my daily life. And I will continue to practice, learn, and grow in this amazing language.